Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So my name is Captain Giorgio and I want to welcome you to this exciting episode of Photography Review, where we take a deep down analysis about a certain image that's making popular headlines today. Now, this image has been used by various news resources, and I've noticed that everyone seems to be posting it as their thumbnail, as their title, as their cover. It's just been popping off lately. In this first episode, I want to talk to you about this certain image. So let me pull it up for you real quick. Alright, so here's the image that I want to talk to you about today. Now, we'll be talking about why this image is so successful, what elements and principles of design cooperate with the photograph to make it more visually appealing. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one out. What makes an image so visually appealing? Well, it all comes down to how easy it is to take in the information that's being provided. Narrative. How easily is it being told? Its context. And all in all, is it visually satisfying to look at? Now, this guy in the center, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, it's not really the main focus of this picture, so I don't want to get into that space. But what I do want to talk to you about is how this photograph was angled. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the context, right? Because I feel like if we were going to interpret any image on this channel, I want to make sure I give you the proper context of what was happening. So as you can tell, Mr. Trump was doing one of his rallies recently, and during his speech there was a whole shooting exchange to occur, and he had to get down for a moment by the Secret Service, as you can see in this photograph. Once they had confirmed that it was safe to move, they had to pick him up and escort him out into the van. But that's kind of like the gist of it. And so on the way down his escalators, he pulled up a fist, and a photojournalist by the name of Evan Vucci, shout out to him, was able to capture this image for us, and now we're going to talk about it today. Okay, so I feel like that's the context and this narrative to get you up to speed as to what is it that this image is all about. Now, to get started, I want to talk to you about the composition of this image. What kind of angle was used? Well, right now, as you can see, this shot is based out of a low angle, meaning that we were just below the subject. So anything that comes up from our perspective as the viewer makes everything look pretty much grandiose, triumphant, victorious, if you will. It's perfect for the subject because they're obviously pulling up their fist, and the amount of information that's being given to us, the American flag, the people surrounding him, it just gives the sense that he was victorious. He was triumphant in surviving his assassination. Now let's take a look at our alignment tools. So you see here I have presented myself with the rule of thirds. Now the rule of thirds is a handy tool in photography that people use so that they can gravitate your interest. So usually it is in the intersections of these lines. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 anchor points in which the viewer can base out of their interest. Sometimes the rule of thirds can also be used to center the subject's arena. So in this example, it works great because the center of the focus here, Mr. Trump, is actually based off the center alignment of the rule of thirds. So naturally, our eye just lands on that. Now, why does this matter? Well, because this is kind of like our starting point if we are going to be visually invested in this image. And again, this happens like in a split second. As soon as you're introduced to an image, your brain subconsciously takes all of that information in. But we're going to be looking at this kind of like step by step. So again, we all respond to images differently. I just want to go in here and showcase to you an example of how a viewer can go in there and get something out of an image. So for example, in this case, we'll start off our point of interest here. Yeah, we can get directed into his fist, which the fist itself, it's an icon. It means a lot of different things. Yeah, so then our eye can get gravitated towards these subjects, right? which are the secret services escorting to him. And notice the contrast between the sky and their suits. Now notice how it gravitates and adds into the shape of all of these guards kind of compiled together. And notice how that form of the Secret Service adds into our pathway, if you will, for analyzing this image. And again, this line represents kind of like our eyeball, kind of like starting from the main focus and investing itself into the narrative of the image. Notice how all these items nicely create like a little circuit for us to follow. This is what some artists call the line of continuous motion, meaning that it's like a pathway for the viewer to get interested into an image and visually and repeatedly cycle through this whole path. As we continuously cycle through, our mind gathers more information about the image, right? And that's how we get to learn more. And repeatedly, after a while, we get more invested into the image, spend more time looking at it, and therefore creates an impact in our lives. We haven't even gotten started about interpretation of an image, but enough of the psychology of seeing. I'm here to talk about why this stuff works. It's easy to comprehend that there's a silhouette, if you will, that we keep cycling through, and it's therefore keeping us more invested. Now, there has been an article that came out recently saying that the same pathway that's being created kind of reminds people about a different image. Now, I don't know if you agree with this, so please let me know down in the comments that it looks similar to this image. It's called The Raising of the Flag on Iwo Jima by Joe Rosenthal. I apologize for the mispronunciation, but people are saying that it gives off the same, it gives off the same impact as something that represents patriotism, victory, triumphant, similar to what we're seeing today. Although it doesn't give us the same path, it's still kind of similar in the sense that we are given this triangular shape of a path. Easy peasy, right? Sorry for the crooked lines, but yeah, it's a triangle. So it's easy to read. Then we look at the one we have today, and this is the one we have now. Notice how it's another triangle that's very easy to look at, very easy to cycle through, and all in all, it gives kind of the same symbolism, the same impact. Now, in terms of principles and elements of design that were used to create this image, I think it works really well the fact that we have lots of reds, lots of whites, lots of blues. So through the flag, we are able to give in some emphasis in terms of color, and we can see the same colors be mimicked all around the image. Don't believe me? Got whites, we got reds based on his scars, his blood, and we got the blues. So all of these colors get repeated to us, and we can see that there's some kind of a connection between the colors being used and the flag, which only adds to a more psychological impact that this is about patriotism. This is about America. It just works well with the composition. It makes it all work cohesively, makes it all look like it's part of an American image. So this is going to go down in history for sure. I feel like this is going to come up in one of your history textbooks like 20 years from now. The kids are going to be like, oh, look at this photograph. What were you doing? And I was like, oh, I'll probably be reviewing some of these images. Okay, in terms of space. Now, I like to talk about space in this image because it's very easy. The background is not too busy, right? You got all the sky here. All the information you need is based around this loop. And all this blue. So again, making this image have an easy background that gravitates all of our attentions this way, which again makes me bring into the iconography of this image. I'm talking about like the things that we see here, like for example the fist. The fist represents a lot of things. The flag itself is a huge memorial. It just represents a whole bunch of things. So that's pretty much it in terms of iconography. Oh, unless you want to consider like the person itself. I mean, when you look at him, at this certain individual. It brings a lot of emotions out, right? A lot of biases, a lot of things that you think about, whether positive or negative, when you think about this individual. So that's why this whole image, very simple, very easy to read, yet presents us with a lot of information, and it gives the viewer a lot of time to reflect and reels out a lot of emotion inside of us. We took a deep dive into today's photojournalism. I can see why now this image is the most popular one right now. Even though there were other photographs out there that showcase the exact same messaging, this one overall definitely was the one that had the more impact on people. So I want to give a shout out again to the photographer. His name is Evan Vucci. So if you happen to see him, or if you see any other one of his works, I think he's a great photographer. I think his work is spectacular, and right now he's given us something that we'll never visually forget. And of course, let me know what you think. Do you think this was a great idea to start analyzing photographs? And I'll be seeing you in the next one. This is Giorgio Photography. Thank you for your time. Stay safe, stay well, and remember to stay creative. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.